An entirely ordinary evening habit in kitchens across America might be quietly setting the stage for one of the most devastating health conditions we face. You finish dinner, pack up the leftovers in a plastic container, toss it in the refrigerator, and plan to warm it up the next day. It feels like the responsible thing to do. You are saving money and reducing food waste. However, the seemingly harmless act of microwaving or reheating certain foods is far from a neutral event. In fact, reheating specific everyday meals alters their chemical structure in ways that place an enormous, invisible burden on your pancreas. I have spent decades in medicine, and I want to share a growing concern within the scientific community regarding how improper reheating generates toxic compounds. Over the next few minutes, I am going to reveal 5 specific foods that, when warmed up incorrectly, actively sabotage your pancreatic health. The biochemical reality of the reactions taking place inside your microwave will completely change the way you handle tomorrow's lunch. We all rely on leftover food. After a long shift at work, pulling a container out of the fridge is the path of least resistance. It is practical and deeply ingrained in our culture. Yet, this daily gesture might be waging a silent war against an organ most people ignore until it is too late. Your pancreas is the unsung hero of your digestive system. Tucked behind your stomach, it works around the clock, manufacturing the heavy-duty enzymes required to break down meals and secreting the precise amounts of insulin needed to keep your blood sugar balanced. The fundamental danger with the pancreas is its stoic nature. It does not complain or give early warning signs of distress. By the time a patient sitting in my exam room feels the deep abdominal pain, the damage is almost always advanced. This silent progression is why pancreatic cancer remains one of the most notoriously difficult diseases to catch early, carrying survival rates that remain heartbreakingly low. Prevention is your absolute best line of defense, and that defense must begin right on your kitchen counter. This medical concern comes from a modern understanding of food chemistry. We possess clear evidence that the cycle of heating, cooling, and reheating is a volatile chemical process. This thermal cycling can take safe ingredients and twist them into harmful metabolic saboteurs. Specifically, improper reheating breeds compounds that trigger rampant inflammation, severe oxidative stress, and deep-seated cellular damage. In the medical field, we recognize those 3 factors as the foundational pillars for almost every chronic disease imaginable. My goal here is not to cause panic or make you throw away perfectly good groceries. My sole objective is to arm you with clinical knowledge. Knowledge grants you the power to protect your longevity through manageable adjustments to your daily routine. We are going to break down the exact microscopic reactions taking place when you hit the start button on your appliance. We will look closely at 5 common culprits sitting in your refrigerator right now. I will provide you with highly practical, incredibly safe solutions for managing your leftovers without putting your internal organs in jeopardy. Please pay close attention to this information. We are looking at the hard biochemical reality occurring in your home every single day. Let us get started. The first major offender on our list is not a single food, but rather the cooking oils used to prepare them. Think about a container of leftover French fries, crispy fried chicken, or a breaded pork chop. When the next day rolls around, the standard American habit is to throw them straight into the microwave or toss them into a hot skillet for a second round of frying to get that crunch back. That exact moment is where the biological trouble begins. When you heat standard vegetable oils like corn, soybean, or canola oil to high temperatures during the initial fry, the molecular structure begins to degrade. Reheating that same oil bound to the food unleashes a toxic cascade. These reheated fats undergo deep, rapid oxidation, producing a soup of hazardous compounds like aldehydes and volatile free radicals. You can visualize free radicals as microscopic wrecking balls loose inside your bloodstream, damaging healthy cells and mutating your DNA. This process assaults your pancreas by causing severe systemic inflammation. Your immune system recognizes oxidized oils as a threat and triggers an inflammatory defense response. Consuming reheated fried foods regularly puts you in a state of chronic inflammation. A chronically inflamed pancreas is deeply stressed, forced to work overtime in a hostile environment. Additionally, the aggressive toxins from reheated oils pass into your bloodstream and systematically attack the pancreatic cells themselves, impairing their ability to produce insulin. You might notice subtle hints of this damage, such as unusual bloating or deep fatigue after a heavy meal. The clinical solution is to handle dietary fats with common sense. You must never reuse frying oil. That is an absolute rule in my practice. I also advise shifting to alternative cooking methods, like baking or roasting. If you must handle fried leftovers, use a conventional oven or an air fryer without introducing a single drop of new oil. The dry, circulating heat will restore the texture safely. Ultimately, eating fresh food over reheated fried leftovers gives your pancreas a much-needed opportunity to rest. The second food usually surprises my patients because it is the ultimate symbol of a healthy diet. I am referring to spinach and other dark, leafy greens. The underlying issue has nothing to do with the spinach itself, but entirely with the chemical reactions provoked by reheating it. Leafy greens like spinach naturally pull high concentrations of harmless nitrates from the soil. The danger is introduced when you cook a large batch of these greens and let them cool slowly on the stove or sit in the fridge for several days. Naturally occurring bacteria begin converting those safe nitrates into nitrites. The true hazard materializes during the reheating process. Applying direct heat forces a chemical reaction that creates a new class of compounds known as nitrosamines. Nitrosamines are formally classified by health authorities as highly probable human carcinogens, linked to serious cellular damage. They possess the specific ability to penetrate cells and mutate human DNA. Clearing these toxins severely stresses your pancreas, promoting chronic inflammation. My medical advice is simple. Cook only the exact amount of leafy greens you plan to consume. If you have leftovers, cool them rapidly in a shallow container and eat them cold the next day in a salad. You should absolutely avoid reheating them entirely. We now arrive at the third culprit, a staple ingredient found in pantries from coast to coast. Rice appears to be innocent, but reheated rice harbors a sneaky biological threat. The root of this problem is a resilient strain of bacteria known as Bacillus cereus. The spores of this bacteria act like microscopic survival capsules commonly found in uncooked, dry rice. They easily survive the boiling water in your pot. If you leave warm rice sitting out on the kitchen counter for hours, those dormant spores germinate, multiply aggressively, and excrete a highly heat-resistant toxin. When you microwave that day-old rice, the thermal radiation kills the live bacteria, but it does absolutely nothing to destroy the chemical toxin. That lingering toxin triggers severe food poisoning. Every single episode of foodborne illness is a violent inflammatory explosion inside your digestive tract. This immune response sends shockwaves of stress throughout your gastrointestinal system, and the pancreas takes a massive hit. To protect yourself, serve your rice and cool the remainder immediately. Spread the leftover rice out on a baking sheet to drop the temperature fast, then refrigerate it within an hour. Consume it within 24 hours, reheat it until it reaches 165 degrees Fahrenheit, and never reheat it more than once. Our fourth food is the undisputed king of American leftovers. Chicken is an outstanding source of lean protein, making it a cornerstone of healthy meal prep. Yet, reheating poultry introduces a documented health hazard. Raw chicken is notoriously contaminated with aggressive pathogens like salmonella. Bringing the bird to the proper internal temperature initially annihilates these threats. The risk sneaks back in due to the completely uneven nature of reheating, particularly when using a standard microwave. Microwaves heat food inconsistently, leaving the outside blistering hot while the center remains ice cold. Those localized cold spots inside a thick chicken breast provide a pristine harbor for lingering bacteria to aggressively multiply. Contracting a salmonella infection is a serious medical event that triggers a systemic immune mobilization. This is an event of massive physiological stress for every organ you possess. heavily including the pancreas, which gets dragged into the center of this inflammatory battlefield. Chill your leftover chicken rapidly and store it in an airtight container. Use an oven or a skillet over medium-low heat to ensure gentle, even warming instead of a microwave. Always use a digital meat thermometer to verify the thickest part hits 165 degrees Fahrenheit. Alternatively, shred the cold meat into a classic chicken salad. We finally arrive at our fifth culprit, the beloved potato. The humble potato is a nutritional powerhouse, but managing its leftovers triggers unexpected biological consequences. When you bake a potato and let it cool in the refrigerator, a large percentage of its carbohydrates physically transforms into resistant starch. This specific starch is an absolute blessing for your body. It feeds your beneficial gut bacteria and acts like a metabolic brake pedal, drastically slowing down the absorption of glucose into your bloodstream. The tragedy occurs when you put those cold potatoes back into the microwave or the frying pan. The application of heat destroys a massive portion of that hard-earned resistant starch. By obliterating it, a reheated potato converts back into a rapidly digesting carbohydrate that triggers an aggressive spike in your blood glucose levels. Your pancreas is forced to pump out a massive surge of insulin to manage the flood. This continuous demand leads directly to insulin resistance, a major risk factor for pancreatic cancer. Furthermore, reheating starchy foods at high temperatures generates acrylamide, a probable carcinogen. My medical advice is to embrace the cold. A classic American potato salad maximizes that protective resistant starch. If you must warm them, steam them lightly and never deep fry them twice. We have covered a tremendous amount of ground today, placing 5 incredibly common household foods under a clinical microscope. We have established how the routine act of reheating leftovers can actively twist safe ingredients into metabolic liabilities. With cooking oils and fried foods, the primary threat is aggressive oxidation, driving systemic inflammation. With leafy greens, we guard against the conversion of harmless nitrates into DNA-damaging nitrosamines. Rice presents the bacterial threat of Bacillus cereus and its heat-proof toxins. Leftover chicken introduces the severe risk of salmonella infection due to erratic microwave heating. Finally, the potato demands our attention due to violent blood sugar spikes and the destruction of valuable resistant starch. The unifying thread connecting every single one of these foods is identical. Improper reheating breeds systemic inflammation, rampant oxidative stress, and progressive cellular damage. These are the exact biological mechanisms that slowly grind down your pancreas over time. My final message to you is one of complete empowerment. I am giving you the clinical blueprint to make smarter, informed decisions. Preventative medicine is built upon the hundreds of tiny choices you make daily. Cook appropriate portions, cool your hot food rapidly, default to eating leftovers cold, and when you do use heat, apply it evenly and measure the temperature accurately. These minor adjustments to your kitchen routine will yield monumental dividends for your longevity. You must also remember the broader metabolic picture. Protect your pancreas by actively maintaining a healthy body weight, avoiding tobacco, limiting alcohol, cutting out refined sugars, and loading your plate with fresh vegetables. The power to protect your health rests entirely in your hands. If you found this medical breakdown valuable, please share this video directly with your friends and family members. I am Dr. Eugene Hollis, and that's it for today's video. See you, as always, in the next video. Don't forget to subscribe. Goodbye.